Welcome to the FMC Lounge, everyone. I am your host, Joe for Show, and in this video we are going to be going over my Esiemo build guide and the same buff that he got in the recent patch. If you like this kind of content and want to see more, please do me a favor, subscribe, leave a like, a comment. It only takes a few seconds. It will help with the YouTube algorithm and will help the channel grow so I can keep making content for you guys like this. Enough of the yapping, let's jump straight into the video. Before we jump into the builds, I just want to go over the updates and the buff that he got in the patch notes. I'm not going to go over the other descendants in this video. This is strictly for Esiemo. If you want to see the patch notes for yourself, I'll leave a link down below in the description. So on April 3rd, this patch came out, which did a lot of balance update to a lot of descendants, and it was great for the game. Unfortunately, Enos did get nerfed, but she's still broken. My next video is going to be an Enos update guide for people who think she's dead to the ground, but she's really not. She's still really insane. But enough about her. Let's jump into the Esiemo buffs. So the first thing they did for his I don't even know how to pronounce that word. I'm not even going to try. The explosive damage went up by just about like 400%. It's not that much. His time bomb ability, the cooldown went up by a second and a half, but the MP cost went down 1. The explosive damage radius went up by 1 meter, and at level 4 his damage went up twice as much. For his blast ability, the cooldown went down to a flat 2, so down 0.7. His damage increase went up almost 3 times, and then the skill power increase went up basically twice as much from 4. The guided landmine, his third ability, the cooldown unfortunately went up, but the radius went up by 1 meter and the damage almost went up by 3 times as much. For his last ability, the Arche explosion, your defense decrease is only down 10% now instead of 30, and the explosive damage is 15,155, so it went up basically twice as much. For his Descendant mod, the cluster bomb, the cooldown went to a flat 2 seconds. The damage increase went from 15% to 44, almost 3 times as much. The skill power went up 8 times, up to 4 times. I'm not really sure what this means. It's trying to tell me that it was at 8 and it could go to 4, so wouldn't that be a nerf? I'm not really sure. If anyone knows in the comment, let me know. I don't play Esiemo that much, I'm sorry. The explosive damage went up from 143 to 260, so almost twice as much, about 80% increase. And the burn damage, which is your tick damage, your modifier, that went up by 42% from 15, so almost 3 times as much. The Descendant mod explosive propaganda, the cooldown went down by 6 seconds to 32 from 38, and his damage went up from 1493 to 3179, so basically a little bit more than twice as much. His other Descendant mod created explosion for his 4th ability. The blast, which is the first ability, went down to straight 2 seconds. The damage increased per bomb from 35 to 90, so basically almost 3 times as much, and the skill power increased up to 8 times, up to 4 times. The create explosion, like we saw earlier right here, your defense, what you call it, goes down from only to 10% instead of 30, so you're gonna be much more tankier. Your explosive damage went up by only about 600%. Your damage per bomb went up by 25% as well. Now for our first build, it's going to revolve around the created explosion Descendant mod. After a dash, use up all available bombs to inflict great damage to nearby enemies. The more bombs available, the greater the damage inflicted. Now before we go all over the rest of the mods, go ahead, get your screenshots. Now what this does is it revolves around your 4th and your 2nd ability. And basically your 4th changes from, what was it before? It was an Arche explosion, which after you use it, you get madness, which lasts for 14 seconds base. You get skill power increase 25%, firearm attack increase 25%, movement speed increase 30%. But because we're using the Descendant mod created explosion, it changes our 4th ability where we get narcissism instead, which is the same duration, 14 seconds, but it gives a cooldown decrease of 40%. And we still get the movement speed and a defense increase. So instead of getting weapon damage buff and skill power buff, we're getting a cooldown decrease buff. And because of that cooldown, we're able to spam our 3rd ability and our 1st ability after we get done using our 4th ability to do even more damage. Now if you remember, this uses all your bombs to do damage, but because of after we use the ability, our cooldowns are going to be so low. As you see, it's 2.9 and it's 3.8. After we activate our 4th abilities, the cooldown for this 3.8 is going to go 1.4, and this one is going to go like another 1.4 as well. So since we had those low cooldowns, we're able to spam our 1st and our 3rd ability, do much more damage. Remember, narcissism lasts 14 seconds, This cooldown is 8 seconds. It's going to go to 4-second cooldown after we use our 4th ability, so we will be able to spam our 4th ability as much as we want. Same with our 3rd and same with our 1st ability, as long as we have enough mana, which shouldn't be a problem. It drops a lot on the ground, especially if you're playing these activities with a high amount of enemies. Now for the mods, we are using 4 damage mods. We are using power increase, tech amplification, fire amplification, and tech specialist. Now if anybody's wondering, I'm using tech specialist instead of focus on tech because we really don't need a cooldown, because we're getting a 40% cooldown decrease from this. I'm using power increase because it's going to give us net additional damage. And what I mean by that is, so if you notice, we have tech amplification and fire amplification, right? So if you come down to, where is it, our tech skill power modifier, it's at 137. Now if you look at our fire, it's at 65. But if you look at our skill power, it's at 65. We had 3 different damage stats. If I would take this off and put on a focus on fire, this will go up to like in the 130s, like how this is, but we only had 2 damage stats. Yes, we're gonna get more fire skill power, but because it's already high enough at 60s, the more we go higher, we're gonna get less value in return. It's gonna be diminishing return, while with skill power is going to be an extra damage, you know, slot that we're not getting before. It's gonna make us do much more damage, and I'll show you me testing it a little bit after we go over the rest of the mods. Now we're using 1 duration mod for our 4th ability to go to 90 seconds. Be honest, you probably don't even need this. You can probably take this off if you want. We're using 1 range mod, 2 cooldown mods like normal, 1 skill cost, and 1 HP. Now I do usually go 2 HP mods, but because of the components and the stuff I'm running, I don't need a 2nd HP mod, and I'm running skill cost so we could be able to spam our abilities more with how low our cooldowns are. Now let me show you how the power increase mod work compared to focus. So we're gonna go to our damage mods. We have our power increase and our other 3 damage mods. We have 4 damage mods, correct? So we use our 1st ability. You're gonna notice that it does 467, correct? We did 467. Now let's take this off. All right, you're not gonna let me. I'm back up a little bit more. Like I said, let's take this off, and we are going to add on, where is it, focus on fire, which I probably won't have enough room. It's okay, we'll take this off. There we go. Now we have focus on fire, right? No more power increase. Our skill power, fire skill power went up to 42, and our tech still the same, but we have no skill power increase, right? So now remember, our ability did 467. So now when we do it, it did 401. We did 66 less damage. That's a perfect example of how power increase gives you a different damage stat, because if you notice, it's fire skill power, tech skill power modifier, but when we throw on the power increase, we are getting a whole 3rd damage slot. So this is why I use power increase. Now for our reactor, we're going to be using a fire and fusion reactor, and 2 bottom stats. You mainly want cooldown, your 2nd one. If you want a little bit more damage, you can go for fire. I recommend fire over the tech and fusion, which I'll explain in a little bit. Or you could go a skill cost if you want. You don't really need range. You're basically cap on range with the art tuning and everything, which I'll show in a minute as well. And we call it for our components. We're rocking 2-piece ascending armory and then a 2-piece hunter. I'm rocking 2 pieces of this for the skill cost, and I'm rocking 2 pieces of this for the cooldown. With this set, I'm able to spam my abilities more, have a great cooldown, and it's not going to take up that much mana, which is why we're running, you know, the skill cost mod right here. We're getting skill cost from art tuning, which I'll show in a bit, and then the skill cost from this. Now if you notice in most of my videos, my reactors, I only have them at level 3 or level 2, and the main reason why is I want to show you guys you don't need to have your reactor fully max level to do the stuff that you see me do in these videos or you see other streamers do. Just having a level 3 or level 2 works perfectly fine. And I understand that the material that you need to level your reactor, it's not that easy to get, especially if you haven't been playing the game long as I have. So I just wanted to show you guys you don't need a max reactor to do it. With this component set, I'm pretty tanky of how I want, with 9k defense and 14,000 HP. And we actually get more defense and HP because of our inversion reinforcement. We're rocking the bio density. When I get a kill, I'm gonna get more HP. And then also when you have this full slot unlocked, you have this always active, and every time you pick up a HP or a mana orb, you're gonna get defense as well. It goes up to 5%. So our 9k defense goes up even more. And our other reinforcements is the selective neurotism, help me give me MP back depending on which of those 3 activate. And then our last one, we are using what you call it, adrenaline rush for just more movement speed. Now for your weapon of choice, it's really up to you. I use the peacemaker just because of the sprint speed, you know, give me better movement. I'm using it as a stat stick just for that. The unique ability doesn't work with Esiemo because unique ability only buffs non-attribute while we're fire. So I'm literally strictly using it for a stat stick. You don't even need to put any mods on. I just did because I had extra material, but you don't need to do any of this. Your other weapons of choice, I'm using Last Dagger as my main weapon damage for guns if I need to, because the gun's broken. And I choose the Smithereen because I'm just a fan of shotgun. You can go 8-10 route if you want, or the Restore Relic, it's up to you. I just prefer the Smithereens. Now for the Arche tuning, we're going the same route that we usually do, which is, you know, get your cooldown and then your skill power. Now if you notice, I'm only at level 35, not 40. It's really not a big issue. My last 6 points, to be honest, I'm not sure what to put those 6 points in. I'm thinking of going to MP recovery modifier to help get my mana back. I could go a little bit more HP, be a little bit tankier. I don't know, that I'm not sure what I'm gonna put it on, but these last 6 points, you could put it on whatever you want to. I'm gonna show you a little damage testing of why I'm rocking the 2 techs. Okay, so remember we had the 2 tech mods and the fusion reactor, right? So we come over here, our 4th ability, it's gonna do 6.2 mil, right? So our 4th ability did 6.2. Now if we put on 2 fusion mods, remember we did 6.2. So we throw on 2 fusion mods, it's on a fusion specialist. Our 4th ability is going to do 6.3. It barely went up a little over 100k. I feel like it's not worth it. I rather run the 2 tech mods so that my my 1st and 3rd ability could get a damage increase, since I'm not running a reactor to match it, because we are using our 1st and 3rd ability, I said it backwards, but our 1st and 3rd ability to do extra damage at their 4th ability, which I'll show you how it is right now. Okay, so what I like to do is, you know, you run in, use your 4th, and then after you do that, you just spam your abilities. And if you notice the total damage is at 6.2, let's get rid of that. Right now, when you pop them all off, we just did 18 mil. So you have multiple ways of doing damage depending on what you want to do. Unfortunately, there isn't a good reactor farm for fire and fusion. There's no static spot, unfortunately, so you will have to constantly check the weekly rotation to find a good fire and fusion reactor farm. Next build, it's going to revolve around explosive propaganda. Generates explosive propaganda. The generated explosive propaganda taunts nearby monsters until destroyed, upon which it explodes and causes great damage to nearby enemies. So it's sort of like Lepic 3rd ability, where it sucks all the enemies in. But instead of sucking enemy in, enemies are going to run to it because it distracts them and it damages them. You don't have to use another ability or weapon like how Lepic has to after using their 3rd ability. Now before we jump into the mods and everything, go ahead, get your screenshots. Now what this does, it changes our 3rd ability. Well, it doesn't change, actually our 3rd ability stays tech. For all the mods, same thing, nothing changed except for, instead of running the skill cost mod, we are running spare and shield, just for a little bit more defense and skill power. And now for the reactor, we are running a fire tech reactor. I do have skill cooldown. I don't want to crit hit damage. I'd rather have, like I said before, a fire or even a tech, so our reactor, well, our abilities would do more damage. For the components, we're still rocking the same 4-piece 2-piece hunter and 2-piece ascending, just for the skill cooldown and the skill cost. Now for our inversion reinforcement, we're rocking the same 3-piece, the adrenaline rush for movement speed after kills, biodensity augmentation, get more HP after kills, and selective neurostimulation to get our MP back depending on which 3 activates. For the Arche tuning, it is exactly the same as the skill we were using before for the 1st build. Nothing changes. Again, your last 6 points, put that into whatever you feel like depending on your playstyle. Now our weapon of choice, because we're running a tech reactor, we are going to be running Secret Garden. The main reason why is because it's a unique ability. When using a tech skill, you get pest control, which has 50% chance to trigger. It lasts 10 seconds. And if you get 1 stack, you get 16% skill power or weapon damage, and you can go up to 3 times, which is about 48%. Now for our bossing build, it's going to revolve around create explosion still. And the main reason why, because the decreased cooldown we get allows us to spam our first and our third ability, and that's going to be our main damage for bosses, for the Colossus bosses. And now for the mods, go ahead, take a screenshot. It's literally the same, nothing changes. If anything you want to change, you could probably take this off and add on another like damage mod, like probably, let's see, what is it called? I think it's called Fire Syntheum. Yeah, you can add this on for a little bit more fire skill power if you want to replace this. It's up to you. Now for our reactor, we're using a fire and tech reactor with additional skill attack, Colossus damage, and the bottom stat is crit damage. I don't want crit hit because this is not a crit hit build. I'd rather have fire, but unfortunately we don't have that. Now the main reason why we're using fire tech instead of fusion, because the way we're damaging the boss is our third ability and our first ability, which is tech. So we want as much damage increase that we can get as possible. For the components, I am still rocking the same 4-piece, 2-piece ascending, and 2-piece hunter. Now you can go 4-piece slayer to get a little bit more damage. I just feel it's not necessary. The reason why is this: when you rock 4-piece, you get 26% skill power, right? Well, I'm already getting 65% skill power right here from the power increase. I just feel like it's overkill and it's really not needed, but if you want to do that, go ahead. I perfectly enjoy rocking this. And then for the inversion reinforcements, I would take adrenaline off, this one off, put this one on just in case a little bit of HP, and then depending on the boss enemy you know, use the attribute that is weak against. And then for the arcade tuning, it's basically almost the same as our skill. The only thing different is instead of having these 3 in the range, we put it into the Colossus instead to have more damage against Colossus. The other 6 points, again, it's up to you. Put whatever you want. It's based off your playstyle, your preference. Overall, the Esiemo bossing build is really strong against all of the hard mode bosses. Now for the Abyss boss, Tormentor, kind of a little iffy, kind of a little struggle a bit. If you have the 810, you could probably make it work. I'm not going to deal with the RNG stuff. That's just not for me. But in May, when we get the new Abyss boss, it is going to be a chill boss. It's going to be weak against fire. So Esiemo might be meta for the new Abyss boss in May. Just keep that in mind when you're watching this video. Well, that's going to be it for this video. The rest of the video, I'm going to show gameplay of me using one of the builds Esiemo, so you get a better understanding of how to use Esiemo. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment so I could help with the YouTube algorithm. I'll catch you on the next video.